Howdy, good evening. It is Sunday, 10:31 p.m., May 26th, 2019, as the Astros have wrapped up another week in the regular season. In fact, they have played exactly one-third of the regular season. They played 54 games, and of course, 162 in the full season. So anyway, if we do an on-pace type of game, which is something we can sort of do now that we're exactly one-third of the way through the season, they're on pace for 105 wins. If you were to tell me that going into the season, after a third way, or after a third way, I'd say, yeah, I'd take it. Some tough losses this week. Overall, they went 4-3. So, I mean, just kind of, not bad, not good, just average. As I split with the White Sox Monday through Thursday, and then they took 2 or 3 from the Red Sox. But I had a chance to sweep today, and they weren't able to get it done. So, I mean, there's a lot of injuries that have now... we're going to be dealing with a lot here. We should be getting Altuve back by Wednesday, I would guess. But you get Springer now out for, could be a month we're looking at for him. Diaz aggravated his hamstring today, so he's most likely going to have a DL stint. Max Stassi, who isn't a huge loss. He's the backup catcher, and he hasn't been doing nothing, squat at the plate. So, but he's on the IL, and then who else am I forgetting? There's somebody else. I don't know. But a lot of hamstrings. I think Stassi, it's more so the knee, but with Altuve, the hamstring coming back. He's coming back Wednesday, like I said, but Springer hamstring, Diaz hamstring. So, and those are always a tricky injury. You never want to rush back from those, because if you re-aggravate it, it can really keep you out big time. In fact, Springer, he dealt with the lower back stiffness, and I realized last week I actually said discomfort. So used to that word after last year. But it was stiffness, and then he sat out Monday through Thursday, was back in the lineup Friday, and then sliding for a foul ball, he injured his hamstring. So, and it's a grade 2, which isn't as bad. Grade 3 is the worst. So he's not. A month is a pretty long time. So we'll just have to wait and see. You're going to have to figure out a way to get production. You're going to have Marisnick and Kemp out there, I would suspect, for most games. And Marisnick's done a good job. He's got to keep it going. So, and Kemp, if you just look at his numbers this year, he's been really good at all. So, I think they'd stick with Marisnick for the most part. And, of course, you got Brantley and Reddick in the corner spots. So, but yeah, you got to find a way. If Marisnick plays the way he's been playing all year, we should be fine. Like I said, Altuve's coming back. And, of course, Bregman, Springer, Yuli Gurriel. Whole thing with the second base, it's been a whole lot of Diaz, but even when he was briefly hurt before re-aggravating the hamstring today, they'd move Gurriel to second and put Tyler White at first. They even used Tony Kemp a little bit at second base, so they've had to, mix and match and figure out combinations. And they called up Garrett Stubbs to fill the void of the backup catcher position. Also, Brady Rogers was called up because Colin McHugh went on the DL. Of course, when he went on they called up. So back when Altuve first got put on the IL, they moved McHugh to the bullpen, and they brought up Corbin Martin because they were able to bring somebody up when somebody goes on the IL injured list. So then McHugh went onto the DL, and they brought up Brady Rogers. So he's in the bullpen. He's had one outing. It was insignificant because he was getting some work. I think it was against the White Sox, and we were down a ton of runs. So a lot of, we've been bitten by injuries here lately. But good news, and Altuve he should be back by Wednesday, but it's like you get somebody back and somebody else goes down. So that's kind of the injury update. Pitching, from a pitching standpoint, we've been fine. Corbin Martin really did struggle in his start on Wednesday. Verlander was dominant on Tuesday. I believe he gave up one hit, which was a home run. They killed him 5-1. So, and then Brad Peacock's a guy I want to bring up because he's been stellar his last 3 starts, basically unhittable. So he's looked real good after having a few rough outings. There was one in Minnesota where he really struggled, and was it another that he had? Trying to think. I don't know. But I know that I can remember that Minnesota one pretty well, and that one didn't go so well. So there was a few other in there where he was subpar, but he's looked good. So hopefully he can keep it up. And the rotation with Verlander, Cole, Corbin Martin, Wade Miley, and Brad Peacock is kind of the order they go in right now. Wade Miley, once again, he's just been super consistent. Quality innings. He can get just, 5, 6, 7 innings, three earned or less. Seems like every time out. And I'll take that. And I think his ERA is at 3.32. So that's been good. And the offense has been able to score enough for him to get the wins or get the no decisions. But it's been good. So I just want to highlight some key points. A few others. Verlander pitched today, and he was very not his usual self. I mean, he got through 7 innings, gave up 3 runs. Most days that would be good, but it wasn't enough as the offense just wasn't doing much of anything today. So, and then Garrett Cole, who pitches tomorrow, but he pitched back on Wednesday, and he really struggled. He got off to a very good start, but as the game went on, he got worse and worse and ended up giving like 6 earned. So he's got an ERA back over 4. It's been very up and down. He has not been consistent. You talk about Miley, who's been super consistent. Garrett Cole's been the complete opposite. He can go out, dominate one day, and then his next start he can be, pretty rocky. So we'll see. I have no problem with Garrett Cole. I mean, yes, he needs to get more consistent, but we've seen it, and I think he'll be fine. Tomorrow will be a good sign, especially I expect him to pitch well. So, I mean, he's got the stuff. He's got the upper 90s fastball. He's got good, secondary pitches, command. So, hopefully he can do good, and we can get back on the winning track tomorrow. Corbin Martin, as I briefly mentioned, did really struggle. I don't think he gotten out into the 4th, and he had given up 3, 4 runs. So he's had one good start, one so-so start, and then one bad start. So he's kind of hit both ends of the spectrum, also one in the middle. So we'll be keeping a close eye on him because this is big, and, I don't want McHugh back in the rotation. And he's hurt right now anyways, so. But, Forrest Whitley, who's a guy that a lot of people have been talking about, has been awful in AAA. So he doesn't deserve to be called up. And, yeah, I mean, they've talked about Dallas Keuchel, but that's never going to happen. So you got to stick with what you have. Pitching overall has been good. I've been happy with it. Miley's been a nice, I don't know if you call it a surprise, but he's done at least what we could have hoped for, and I think even more. And Peacock, looks like he could be coming into his own. And, of course, Verlander's been great. And then Cole up and down, and then Martin, big question mark with him. So that's kind of the pitching staff looks like. The losses this week I mentioned earlier were kind of tough. Having the White Sox come into town for 4, you're thinking at the very least you have to take 3 or 4. And after winning the first 2 games in the series, it looked like they were well on their way. Got absolutely killed in the 3rd game. See if I can get some scores or some stats here. Gotta get into my phone here, so give me just a second. Let's see here. So, yeah, they won 3-0, 5-1. Then they lost 9-4, and they got shut out 4-0. And that Wednesday loss wasn't a big deal. That's baseball. It's gonna happen. But the Thursday one was tough, getting shut out and finishing that series with a split. They'd won every single home series this year until this one. The White Sox are not a team that should really slow them down. But they did bounce back. I went to the game on Friday against Boston, and we won that one 4-3, and the one on Saturday 4-3. And then we lost today 4-1. So it's kind of weird. They had Boston at table going on Friday, and we win. They had Price on Saturday, and we win. And then the pitching matchup that really favored us, which is today, we lost. But that's baseball, right? So, if I go back to Saturday with Price, he only got through 2/3 of an inning before being taken out. And so, you can't really say he really went deep. Friday, Chris Sale, the defense of Boston really screwed him over. I think he gave up 3 or 4 runs, and 3 of them were basically unearned. So they basically gifted us that, giving us those runs there. But we took advantage. That's something good teams do. And Wade Miley pitched really well. Presley gave up a run for the first time, and I don't know the exact number of innings, either 40 or 40 appearances, but for the first time he gave up a run all year. And then on Saturday we almost blew it because Osuna blew his first save of the year, and he was 25 for 25. Hadn't blown a save since becoming the Astros. But I do think it's worth mentioning he gave up 2 walks and a hit to load the bases. Then Christian Vasquez doubled down the line, scoring 2. So he had runners, it was a single down the line, but runner on first got to third. So it was first, third, nobody out, and the game was tied, and Osuna was able to work out of that. So there's something to be said for not completely blowing that game, which gave us a chance in the 9th, and Correa had a walk-off single. That was big, and it's funny when you lose those streaks. Presley finally not as dominant. He only gave up a run. It was a home run the other way. And then, Osuna struggling Saturday. And you escape both those games with wins. So, felt good going into today. But, yeah, didn't go our way. Eduardo Rodriguez, who had an ERA over 5 going into today, but he pitched well for him. That's weird. Our bats usually, I think years past we've really struggled against a lot of no-name pitchers. This year I feel like we've been able to handle all of them, but not today. So anyway, this next week coming up. Oh, quick thing I forgot with the injury front. So with Springer going on the DL, they brought up Derek Fisher. So that's just there is, we'll see. He played today, got a hit, but he also screwed up, struck out. Yeah. He's more here for base running, and he's not going to get a bunch of starts, like I said. I think it'll be a lot of Kemp and Marisnik, and then, of course, Brantley and Reddick in your corner outfield spots. Well, you got 3 with the Cubs. Tomorrow's Memorial Day, so they have this annual afternoon Monday game. A lot of the leagues playing in the afternoons, so have Cole going for us. I think they have Cole Hamels going for them, and he's actually 4-0, a 3.88 ERA. So we'll see. Hope things go well. The Cubs are a pretty good team. I believe they're, let's see, 30-21, so they're pretty good. This will be a fun series, kind of flashback, Central days. But I think we're in good shape. And then you have the off day Thursday, and then 3 in Oakland. Oakland has won 6 in a row, so they've brought themselves back up to second place, which is still 7 games back. Divisions is not going to be an issue for us. I highly doubt it. So I'm looking at it right now. There's 6.5. Oakland is back. But yeah, so I mean, this is more about just trying to win 100 games. That's going to kind of be the goal. And they had this thing, their record where they were kind of winning twice as many as they lost. And Boston did that. That's extremely hard. It doesn't seem hard for a lot of other sports, but in the course of a 162-game year, you have to go 108-54 to actually accomplish that feat of exactly winning twice as many as you have lost. And they were 34-32-16, I believe. 34-17. Right now they're 35-19. So they'd have to win 4 in a row to get back to that spot. New York is better than them. Well, we're actually tied with the Yankees. And of course, these are different divisions, but I'm looking just at the entire league where the Astros sort of rank up. We're tied with New York. They played 2 less games, so their percentage points, their winning percentage is better than ours. Minnesota's better by a full 2 games. They've also played 2 less, but they're 36-16. So Minnesota's good. And they've opened up a 10-game lead in their division. So Minnesota looks like the team right now in the American League, one of the best. And then in the National League, the only team that's better is the Dodgers. And they got us beat by half a game as we've lost 19. They've only lost 18. Both won 35, but that's kind of the standings and the teams that are right where we are. A few better, of course. But anyway, so we're going to this week. I'm hoping to just win this series against Chicago, and then we'll go from there. Go into Oakland. Of course, winning series is on the road. Big deal. Astros like 20-6, 20-7 at home. So they played good baseball. Hopefully it'll continue this week. I don't have a lot more for you on the injury front. I've pretty much given you everything I can. Eliminates Diaz, who re-aggravated that hamstring today. There'll be a roster move because he's likely headed. He's going on the IL. So, and when it comes to infielders, I mean, they talked about Jack Mayfield, who's a guy they could call up, but considering he's not on the 40-man roster, I don't know how that works. So we'll have to wait and see. There'll be a move made. I talked about Garrett Stubbs filling for Max Stassi, and Derek Fisher was called up for Springer, so we'll be waiting on one more corresponding move, which we'll probably find out tomorrow. But yeah, you got to grind it out. We need to be able to step up. Marisnik can continue to play well. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So it's hard. I think the hardest thing is filling in that void in the leadoff spot because, Reddick has batted there, and Diaz had done it the last few days before he got hurt. So now you're probably, I think, would go back to Reddick in the leadoff spot. But it'll be a lot of mix and matching and trying to find a combination that works best as we wait. Altuve will be back, so. But Altuve is your 2-hole hitter, Bregman and Correa and Brantley. Well, Brantley, Correa. And I guess Reddick's going to be in that leadoff spot. No new people when it comes to my list. It's still Rondon. It's still White. They're doing exactly what they've been doing all year. It just amazes me that Rondon continues to be put in. You look at his ERA, it's 2.30, which isn't terrible. But I think the ERA is a little misleading when it comes to bullpen pitchers because he's continued to be used in close games, whether it's tied, whether it's 1 run, and every time he either gives up the go-ahead run or he gives up the run to tie. It baffles me that A.J. Hinch doesn't see it. It's like he's blinded when it comes to Hector Rondon. I don't get him. Just doesn't make sense. But I'm not gonna sit here and just complain. So, anyways, I'd say overall kind of a average to below average week. Not terrible, not great. So they just kind of stand pat, and hopefully the 6 games we can go 4-2. I'll feel pretty good. Talking to you next Sunday. But I'll wrap things up there. We're up on 20 minutes, so we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you next week.